this week's episode, we're heading back to Sweden to try the world's first ever whiskey blended by artificial intelligence. Intelligens from MACKMYRA.
And I tell you what, Nick, I feel like a kid again. I feel like I've been watching Funhouse. I've had a whole lot of fun. There's been prizes to be won. I've had a real wacky time. Well, whatever. We've been at the Virtual Whisky Show and we've had a great time, so we're going to talk a bit more about that.
Yes. And as always, you can find some more whiskey-based content on all our social media platforms. At Whiskey and Things Podcast on Instagram and at Whiskey and Things on Facebook and Twitter.
And I know we say this every week, but please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on all your favourite podcast platforms. It really does help us out. And you can also help the show and receive benefits by becoming a Patreon over at patreon.com/Whiskey and Things.
You're listening to the Whiskey and Things podcast with Dave Giles and Nick Kent.
Welcome to episode 29 of Whiskey and Things. I'm Dave Giles.
29? And I'm Nick Kent. I nearly didn't do that. That just came into my head. Couldn't do a 29th show without a 29?
Yeah, I don't get the reference.
It's from New Girl. Schmidt from New Girl.
Right, okay. Fair
29?
Enough. Fine. All right.
Yes.
It's just, I wish people could see Nick doing this. He gets so animated.
I know. Well, I'm in a good mood because I just won a bottle of whiskey, everyone. I just got a bottle of whiskey.
He did just win a bottle of whiskey.
We've just been on the whiskey show, the Virtual Whisky Show, which we'll be talking about later on. But we just got off the MACKMYRA stall, as it were, the virtual stall, chat to those guys, and I won a bottle of whiskey.
He did. I was trying really hard to win a bottle of whiskey, but Nick beat me to it, but I'm sure
I found that page on the MACKMYRA website blog that got me that answer.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. I did win a t-shirt earlier, though.
You did win a t-shirt.
Right.
It's been a great haul. Whiskey and Things have had a good haul at the convention today.
Yeah, my first full day there as well, which has been fun.
Yeah, well, we'll be talking about that later on.
Yes, we will. Shall we get on with the show?
I just wanted to mention, it is Whisky Wednesday, and we're allowed to use the Whisky Wednesday thing. I checked, because last week...
Oh, right, good. Oh, yeah. Good, right.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Because there's a Whisky Wednesday show on YouTube. That's what that's called, fine. And there's a hashtag Whisky Wednesday, webcast thing as well.
Right.
But, Whisky Wednesday is a thing. It's a thing.
Right, okay. So I don't have to feel bad about it.
I was just covering our asses last week, Dave.
Oh, well, I appreciate having my ass covered at all times. I'm sure the world does as well.
I do. I do. Right, so yeah. Should we get into this Swediski?
Beautiful.
Sting.
Beautiful. Did you hear that on the Whisky Show?
No, I made that up earlier.
Nice.
29? Whiskey bots, roll out.
Hey, mate, listen to this bottle.
No, you can't. I know.
Why not?
It's in my notes. You can't do it.
All right.
You can't do it with this bottle.
But it clinks as well when you put it back on because it's made of metal.
You got to clink. Right, in that case, I'm going to fast forward in my notes. Right, let's just get this out of the way. Right.
Okay.
You get a bit of a pop with it, but there's no squeak.
There is no squeak. It's not a real cork.
No, it's not a real cork. It's a synthetic cork on this, we've got to do it properly, Dave. What are we doing this week?
This week's whiskey.
There we go.
Sorry, you're right. I nearly forgot there.
You nearly forgot. We're jumping forward.
Forgot my one job.
Yeah, MACKMYRA Intelligens AI 01 Single Malt. But yes, let's go back to this cork because it's like this synthetic cork. I'm sure it's something to do with their recycling program.
No waste.
But it doesn't squeak.
Yeah. I like this bottle. This bottle's great.
It's great.
I like the packaging. So it's quite simple packaging, but the bottle top, having that metal and then having that artificial cork. You know, the good thing about an artificial cork, Nick, is that it won't affect the whiskey as much if you are a slow drinker.
It shouldn't matter anyway, as long as that's one reason why you don't store whiskey bottles on their side, because the cork does, mess with it.
But also you have less evaporation through this than you would a cork.
Mate, the way I drink it, I don't think I've got that problem anyway.
Exactly.
But I came up with like an analogy the other day. You know the squeak and you get the pop. But it's like you get the pop right. The pop is the Rooney volley, right? But what's a Rooney volley without the Beckham cross? All
right, you can tell you don't watch football very often. You said two players who both retired years ago.
Yeah,
brilliant.
No, but Yeah, relevant ones.
A Rooney volley, is that a famous thing? Is a Rooney volley?
I know, I've seen some Rooney volleys in my time. All right, a Daniel Ricciardo switcheroo before licking a stamp and sending it down the inside of Seb Vettel.
Beautiful.
Anyway,
let's have some more sporting analogies, shall we?
This is a whiskey show. I've gone way off piste with this one now.
It's a Johnny May finish from a Owen Farrell kick, but if you don't have to squeak, there's no Owen Farrell kick. Johnny May's just running to the try line to nothing. There you go.
Well, we're just running. Analogy. Yeah, anyway, let's get back to the whiskey.
That's my point.
Anyway, welcome back, people. This is a Whiskey and Things podcast. Sorry for that interruption.
Sports and things.
Right. We first discovered MACKMYRA back in episode 17 when we were tasting their Special 6 Summer Meadow release. And we both really liked it, didn't we, Dave?
We did, very much so.
Yes.
We had a wonderful guest on that day as well, didn't we? We had one of their brand ambassadors, Richard McKeand.
We did. And we had a nice interview, 2-section interview with him back then. And we also went into a lot of the detail about the history and the process and stuff. I'm going to give you a little bit of a summary. The kind of started in 1998 with the founders were on a skiing holiday, and they decided to, they all got drunk and they thought they'd make their own Swedishki, the first Swedish single malt. The first spirit came off the still in 1999, so they've been going over 20 years now. All Swedish barley, beautiful Swedish water. Swedish. They pride themselves on the inclusion of the Swedish oak, which we talked a lot about last time. Go and find out about that.
Yeah.
It's very overpowering, so they don't use it much. It's quite sparingly used because it's dense. It's dense, David, isn't it?
It's built for the Vikings.
Yep. This company, they're very forward-thinking with environmental issues and recycling, etc. They have a gravity distillery, for example, which uses 45% less energy than a conventional one. And they've got some great warehouses as well, including the Bodas mine, where they store a lot of casks, which is 430 meters beneath the ground. They've also got other ones built into cliffs and one at the top of a mountain. There's loads of other... Oh, if we back talking about their recycling, the top we're talking about, we're saying it's metal. That's actually made from recycled hoops from the casks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that a lot.
You like that, don't you? So yes, there you go. But this is the Intelligens, which has been, the blend has been designed by artificial intelligence. That's what this is all about, David.
The very first whiskey designed by AI, apparently.
Yes, it is. And I think it's a good idea because we actually chatted with Richard McKeand about this last time he was on, and we have a cool little section of him talking about it. So I thought before we crack open the bottle and have a bit of a taste, I thought we'd just go back and listen to that part.
Yeah, and we very cleverly left this out of the episode 17 interview that went on back then. So yes, I think this will be great, Nick.
Perfect. It's Richard McKeand.
Whiskey?
With MACKMYRA, I've loved looking through the website because very much a company kind of looking forward at different ways of doing things, exciting new things. Can you tell us about the Intelligens release? Am I pronouncing that right?
Intelligens, yeah, I think that's how I pronounce it. I think so. Let's say that it is right. Yeah, that one. It's interesting. You say you're forward thinking. That's where we consider ourselves the explorers of whiskey. There was no precedent set for Sweden, so we've only ever been able to look forward and to sort of try and create our own tradition and heritage of things. And I think the Intelligens is, for me, that came out before I joined, but it's one of the reasons why I was a fan before so, because I thought it was very innovative. Sorry. So Microsoft we work with on this and a company called Fourkind. And you've probably seen from the website that it's the world's first artificially intelligent created whiskey.
Yeah.
We call it, my colleagues and I refer to it as artificially, so AI created and human curated.
Right.
So it wasn't just, there wasn't an artificially intelligent robot or anything doing the nosing and doing the final product or putting it together. But the beginning is set up with an AI program into which we will feed all of our previous sales data, so from the last 20 years, cask recipes, customer feedback, focus groups, lots of different metrics and things will go into it. And press a button, and then the idea was that the AI program would create a list of potential cask recipes that we could then go forward and use.
Amazing.
So we did that, put it in, and also, so importantly, we included in that all the casks that we had available at that time. So this is, what the program had available to create a list with. And it created something like 60 or 70 million different recipes, which is,
And you tried every single one. That took a while. That's why it took 20 years.
So we fed all that in, it created all the list. And then Angela had the task of going through and saying, Angela D'Orazio, our chief nose officer, master blender, she went through and said, well, we don't want the first one to be, the first AI01, release to be peated necessarily. So perhaps we'll take out the bulk of the peated cask recipe. So that then brought it down from 60 million to 30 million. And then Angela says, on paper, I can understand a system thinking this combination would work, but I know from in practice that it doesn't, or doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
So, delete those combinations and just kept, deleting this and that and changing criteria until we got all the way down to 10 or 12, which were then put together, blended, and Angela knows them and selected the one that she thought would be the best.
Oh.
And she said there were a few in there that was difficult to choose. From what she said to us, there was a few in there that worked really well.
So what kind of taste profile came out of that in the end? What is that one like?
Bit of chocolate to it. The DNA of MACKMYRA that you might expect to have in a number of our whiskies. So lots of fruits, some spice, got apples, pears, bananas, sort of thing, and then a hint of black pepper on the end of the palate. It's somewhere in the middle of the range that we have, without being a middling whiskey. It sort of takes all the good parts, from what I see, takes all the good parts and the things that have been successful and just rolls them all into one whiskey, and it works really, really, really well. And if you haven't tried it, I'll be happy to send a sample.
Nice. No, I'd love to try that.
So, of course, the whole interview with Richard is still available on our Patreon page. You can head back through, I'll repost it, but you can head back through the previous post if you're a member of our Patreon page over on patreon.com/whiskey and things. Go and check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love his little laugh. I love how you get him laughing.
It's got a great laugh.
Makes me very happy.
I love that guy.
Makes me very happy.
I love that guy. He's a funny dude. So this bottle, it says on the side, supervised by Angela D'Orazio. That's MACKMYRA's master blender and CNO, Dave.
Chief Nose Officer.
There you go.
No.
Yeah. Of course, you have a CEO and a CFO. They made her the CNO. She's that important.
Amazing. Is that a MACKMYRA special, or is that other whiskey?
I don't know. That's the first time I've heard it. And I was watching a little video about it earlier on. Angela is responsible for the blends and recipes, the quality of the whiskey, sensory analysis and maintaining and overviewing of the maturing of whiskey stock. That's one hell of a job, mate. They've got like warehouses all over the place.
That's a hell of a lot.
That's a hell of a job.
Hell of a job for one person.
Yeah. Last year, Angela was inducted into the Whiskey Magazine Hall of Fame. She's a bit of a big deal. I looked her up on LinkedIn today.
There's a Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I looked her up on LinkedIn today. She knows 4 languages. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
Of course she does. Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she?
Wow. Of course she does. Man, impressive. We should try and get her on at some point.
Yeah.
Get her on the pod.
Interesting lady. I was watching videos earlier. Very interesting lady.
Yeah.
In the video I watched earlier, she was saying the value of trying this was that the AI would come up with something completely non-obvious that she wouldn't have thought of and would have thought it wouldn't have worked, but then tried it and it was actually quite good. So she was very enthusiastic about this.
It is an interesting idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Why not? Why not do something different? And why not be guided by data?
Yeah.
We rely on data for so much these days. Why not rely on it to try and create something unique? And it may not have worked. And if it hadn't, they wouldn't have had to sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
They could have just tried it. I'm sure they tried a couple of different, maybe this was their first one, but I'm sure they probably tried a few different combos before they went, oh.
Yeah, they went down to like,
that's the one.
They had loads. They went back down to like 12 or 15. Then they dwindled them down to 5. And then this was the one. This was the one.
This was the one.
This was AI01. Dave.
So how's the whiskey community reacted to this, Nick? The wider whiskey world, as I like to call them. has it gone down well? Because I love this kind of thing, but whiskey's quite old fashioned, and I imagine there are some snooty people that haven't particularly enjoyed it.
There was a bit of pushback apparently, like from traditionalists, but they are a forward thinking company.
They just don't have
a great idea.
If they don't, this is what annoys me though. They don't have to drink it. They can stick to drinking their Macallans and their Lagavulins. Yeah. They don't have to. But for the casual whiskey drinker or people who would like to try something a bit different with their whiskey, why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Why not?
That's what I think about it.
I'm looking forward to AI02 at some point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right, should we crack this open?
Should we get nose in? Oh, I opened it earlier, didn't I? So
okay. I'm refilling my glass because I did have one.
I haven't tried it yet though. I have got it in my wonderful Whiskey and Things. Glencairn.
That's nice.
Yours is in the post, Nick. Don't worry, yours is in the post. This time next week you'll have one.
Only one. Only more than that.
Oh, I've put a few in the post for you. And of course, if you're listening and you would like one of these, just go and have a look on our website. You can get one, you can get two, you can get four, or you can mix it up and get loads. But go and have a look. Or if you're a member of our Patreon page, you will get one at some point. Maybe soon.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
I am Nick Kent and I approve of this message.
Yes. Okay, so on the nose, straight away, Christmas cake.
Christmas cake, eh?
It's very sweet on the nose. Very.
Yeah, I had a bit of an intimate moment with this last night, just me. Just a bit of a nosing. Yeah. So what really came out for me straight away on the nose was peachy stuff. Peach, pears. It's quite floral.
Oh yeah, pears. Definitely get the pears in there.
I also, for the first time, got fresh cut grass out of this as well. It took me a while.
I'm not getting that.
It took me a while.
Hey, I know you've been working on your nose. You ordered that stuff? Have you been using it?
I've got my Aroma Academy kit. Yes.
Yeah. Have you started that yet?
I've done bits and pieces. That's where I got my fresh cut grass from, and not because I just compared the two, but it suddenly came out. I was like, yes, I know exactly what that is now. I'm getting strong vanilla as well with this.
I'm not getting freshly cut grass, but I am getting a scroll through the woods when it's wet.
Oh, in October?
Yeah, well, no, probably more in the summer or the spring, to be honest, Nick. But, there's a drink for all seasons.
Another thing I'm getting, right, is banana, but the banana sweets. Do you remember those?
The foam banana sweets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not banana.
But even those foam banana, those foam shrimps, the pink shrimp sweets.
No, I don't know about that. Yeah, that kind of texture. But
that kind of
smell, yeah, I'm getting that banana, that artificial banana, artificial intelligence, artificial banana.
I'm quite enjoying this on the nose, Nick. It's quite an experience on the nose.
I tell you, there's one right. I wrote this down as well. Dave, can you pull out your Hibiki and put them side by side nosing?
All right, hold tight.
We'll hold tight.
You should have warned me for that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Why they ever let two Englishmen have a whiskey podcast, I'll never know.
And he's back in the room. If it's not similar, then you're welcome for giving you an excuse to get the Hibiki out.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar on the nose.
Sweet. Yeah. It gave me a Japanese vibe.
Yeah, very similar.
Just because it was recently we'd had with the Hibiki. Obviously, that's a blended whiskey, but this is a single malt.
This is slightly less floral, but it's very similar.
Right.
And you're right in terms of character. It definitely has that Japanese character or the Hibiki character to it anyway.
Right. Sweet.
But it's like in my mind slightly less floral, but sweet.
Yeah.
I want to get my lips around this beautiful Whiskey and Things Glencairn.
Yeah, nice. In that case, skull, David.
I learnt that at the end of the presentation. Cheers, Swedish, skull. Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Just the finish is incredible.
Yeah.
That's unlike anything we've had.
I get dried apricots on the finish. Like the dried ones, the ones that you get in the bag and they're really moreish. And before you know it, you finish the whole bag and then you're going to shit yourself. Yeah. Yeah. But, that's not going to happen here, people.
Right. That's very smooth. It's sweet, but it feels like there's an element of smoke in there, but it's not smoky.
Yeah. No, there's a little touch of smoke. It's quite a creamy mouthfeel for me, and there is some spice in there. And on the finish, I got black pepper. I think I said it earlier. If I didn't, black pepper tingle, everyone. Black pepper tingle.
It's 46.1%, Nick.
It is, mate. Which probably means it's not chill filtered. I wouldn't think it is. Not sure about the colouring, but I doubt it very much.
It's very same colour. It's almost identical colour to the Hibiki as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I've got them sitting side by side.
Nice.
Nick, I like this. It might just be tonight for me, and the fact I've been thinking about whiskey all day. I'm not picking out that many different flavours, but I know I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. I was just about to go to bed last night and I saw it and I thought, I better have a go at that. Delved into it. Dived into it? Dolved into it. Answers on a postcard.
I was actually going to do that myself last night as well. I had a FaceTime catch up with Dr. Heine.
Oh, Dr. Heine.
Yes, and I thought, I'll try that MACKMYRA because we're doing it tomorrow. And I was like, no, because I've got to be the person that's reacting as if I've never had it before.
Do what you want.
I didn't.
Do what you want.
I had the Bimber instead.
Man. You do you. You know, if I've got I'm taking advantage of having the bottle. When we do one where I've only got a sample in a few weeks or something,
can't do it.
I can't do it. I'm going to have to do that. So I'm taking advantage of enjoying it a couple of days before, and
getting to know it a little bit.
Because sometimes your palate can change throughout the day. So depending on the time or what you've had, it's fresher in the mornings. But be careful with that one. Mate, I was drinking Ardbeg the other day at 11:30 in the morning.
I saw a whiskey show.
watching the whiskey
show tasting.
I couldn't, mate. I couldn't.
This is an experience. I enjoy this whiskey. I think it's really tasty. How much is it though, Nick?
Various sites between 50 and 55. Just under 60 on the MACKMYRA website. But I'm sure it's a great website. But 50 to 60 quid, depending on where you get it.
The more you drink it, the nicer it gets. It's really interesting. And you're right. The creaminess is very creamy. Mm-hmm. I'm still not getting the spiciness or the pepper, but that doesn't matter. You got them, and that's all that matters, right?
Yeah, I got them.
But yeah, this is wonderful. If you see this in a bar, get it. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself, and don't forget to say skull.
Exactly. But yes, a winner. I like it.
Yeah, definite winner. It's one that's been in my collection now for a couple of months, and I've been just staring at me. I can't wait to try that and get that open so I can start enjoying it. Because the issue with having the bottles and saying, we're doing that in a couple of months, is you then have this beautiful what looks like a beautiful bottle of whiskey staring at you, and you haven't tried it, and you're like, if I open it, there's a good chance I'm not going to have any left.
But don't worry about it. Whiskey's for drinking, mate.
Quite happy we've got this one out of the way now.
Whiskey's for drinking, mate. Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Sweet.
All right, excellent.
There we go.
Yes, it is sweet.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
Skull. Swedishki, everyone. Swedishki.
Skull. Thanks for coming.
You're listening to Whiskey and Things. These British people talk funny.
Hey, Nick, I've been busy this week. I mean, there's a reason why
I should hope so. I haven't heard from you.
Yeah, no, I decided to, if potentially we've got this other lockdown coming in, decided to go and do some things. Obviously, adhering to all the rules.
I should hope so.
Before anyone has a go. So Lucy and I went out and did a few things. So she came to London and we did some tourist things. And we were going to go to the Tower of London because a friend of mine went a few weeks ago and said it was empty. And I'd love to go to the Tower of London when it's empty, because when is it ever empty? And we went down there and it was closed. It's so
Standard.
empty that they're only opening it from Wednesday to Sundays. But next to the Tower of London is, of course, London Bridge. Not London Bridge, sorry, Tower Bridge. You know, the big fancy one.
Yeah.
That's like, that the tourists love. Now, I know that you could go up it, but I've never been up it. You can go up and do a little tour. And as we were walking around, we're like, shall we do it? There's no queue, no one's there. 10 quid or whatever it was. So in we go. And we speak to the lady there. And we ask her how many people had been in today. It was about 2:00 in the afternoon. And she said, less than 100. I said, is that normal for now? And she's like, no. Normally, this time of year, we get 3,000 people a day.
A day? Good Lord.
A day. So, yeah, it was wonderful for us, though, although I fear for the tourism industry, the same as I do for a lot of industries at the moment. It was wonderful for us because we had the place to ourselves, Nick.
Wow.
And literally, we were up on that top balcony and they've got a glass floor looking down onto the bridge and you've got views of London. And we had the whole area to ourselves. It was like having Tower Bridge to ourselves. When is that ever going to happen?
I don't know. I've only seen that in the Spider-Man movie, at the end of Mysterio. That's the only time I've seen that bit up there.
I completely forgot about that. Damn.
Oh, no. Perfect. You could have, acted some stuff out.
I could have done. I could have recreated it.
Jump around. Doing the Spider-Man stuff. Next time. Don't worry, mate. You can go back and have it to yourself. Apparently no one's going at the moment. So.
Yeah, that's very true. Anyway, Nick, we went down to the gift shop. You go through the gift shop.
Finally, you're onto the gift shop. That's the most important bit.
The steam room. They had quite a lot in the gift shop. They had Glencairn glasses, Nick. They weren't as nice as ours, though.
Of course,
so don't worry
not
about
as
it.
nice as ours.
But they had what was, and this is how much of a tourist trap this is, right? They have Bridgemasters Highland Single Malt Scotch.
You sent me a little link of this earlier.
Bridgemasters Highland Single Malt Scotch. I mean, they can't. The way they've done it on the website is Bridgemasters Highland Single Malt Scotch. Like they don't.
Right.
Whoever designed the website didn't realise that Highland Single Malt Scotch should be the next line, not Bridgemasters Highland. It just that's why I read it so funny the first time. Clearly, it's a Highland Single Malt. Anyway. So there's no information about. It's £50 for a 70 cl bottle of whiskey, right? £50.
Yeah, that's
right?
pretty
So
pricey.
you'd expect a good whiskey, right?
Yeah.
If I'm paying that much money, I want more information.
Yeah. Is there nothing on there?
There's nothing. I mean, yes, it's from the Highlands. There's nothing on there about what distillery or anything about it. It just says, enjoy a drink or two with the 70 cl bottle of our Scotch. The whiskey is named after our fabled Bridgemaster. No, I mean, really?
Which one?
I would never have guessed.
Yeah.
Who for over a century has presided over Tower Bridge. It tells you a bit more about the position of that, but nothing about the whiskey. Fine Scotch whiskey has always been their tipple of choice, and our single malt pays homage to them.
Wow. No, it's the additional information that gets me. 70 cl, 40% ABV, Highland Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. I wouldn't call that additional information.
That's it.
Yeah, it's for the tourist people, isn't it?
And because they do smaller bottles as well. They did a 20 quid bottle that was like smaller, and I can't remember how big it was size wise. And I was tempted to get it to try it, and then Lucy just went, "Why?"
Yeah.
Like,
well, it doesn't say where it's from, what distillery, whatever.
Exactly.
Is it?
And she said, go home and have a research about it, find out more about it. You can always come back and get it. So I did, and you can't find anything online about it. No. There's not a single review from anyone online about it. So it's one of those tourist trap things.
It's a souvenir, isn't it? It's quite an expensive one, though. You know.
Yeah, they did have
quid.
some fridge magic, and they did have some rubbers, which is very rare in
the rainbow ones that don't work.
No, it didn't have rainbow rubbers.
Right.
You can't get rainbow rubber for love nor money in a museum these days, Nick.
What's the world coming
even
to?
Just general, sorry, American listeners, we're talking about erasers. Rubbers mean something completely different from you.
Yes.
You can't get them. Very few museums, even like science museums and things like that, sell erasers or rubbers anymore. Let alone rainbow ones. Anyway, I digress. I don't understand why that was part of the fun when you were a kid. You had to go to a museum. You'd always come back with a rubber.
Oh, he's off now. He's gone off on one of the rubbers. We were talking about whiskey a minute ago.
Yeah, we were.
Rubbers
anyway, also,
things.
this bottle of whiskey does have a picture of Tower Bridge on it, though. I suppose
It's quite
that's
smart.
it,
if you came over from somewhere else, and if you were a tourist, that's what I was trying to say there, and you went for a night and you could afford it, and you wanted to take this home, and you're a whiskey fan, then fine. It's just a bit of fun. But I would have liked a bit more information, to be honest. For the price.
Yeah.
But then I reckon the rent on Tower Bridge is probably quite high. So I can imagine. Yeah. But did you have fun?
Anyway,
did you have fun?
I had a great time. Had a wonderful time, and we carried on walking around London, and we got down to Piccadilly, and we saw Fortnum & Mason. I don't know if you know that, the old department store, the really fancy one. They do hampers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it looked empty, and it was. So we went in, and I've never seen it empty before. So of course we go in, and it's like all the fancy preserves and the jams and all that on the top floor. There's a jar of Manuka honey for £60, and then we go down, and it's more like Marks and Spencer's. They have the food court downstairs with the freshest stuff downstairs.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But they also have all the whiskies downstairs and all the spirits.
Nick perks up.
So I obviously went and had a look at their whiskey collection because I was very, very interested. So they have their own special edition from the Cotswolds distillery.
Oh, brilliant!
Like how Bimber do one for Selfridges.
Yep.
They have one from Cotswolds, which I'm sure I'd love to try. But then behind, and they had a few other things which I really caught my eye. They had a Four Roses, single barrel Four Roses for £52. And I like Four Roses bourbon. We will get onto that at some point. But I'd never seen this bottle before. I've never seen the single barrel. I've seen the small batch and I've seen their regular, but I was like, interesting.
Single barrel for how much? 50 something?
£52.50.
That's not bad at all. A bit of research into that.
And they're numbered. They've got handwritten numbers on the bottles as well. So that's pretty cool. I nearly bought that. But
So that's a good little find, you see. You won't get that in Waitrose probably,
Exactly. But then they also had the glass cabinet where they had the expensive stuff. So they had the 30-year-old Macallan for $5,000 and all the expensive and rare stuff, like the old and rare stuff, all of them. And it was crazy. And while I was standing looking at the glass cabinet, a guy came over and stood near me. Are you okay there, sir? Yeah, I'm just looking. Obviously, I was taking photos, wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
But we're downstairs, miles away from the exit, right?
Yeah.
The expensive, it's all behind glass. I can't get to it, right? They've also got some Japanese stuff, really expensive. They've got the Hibiki that we've got, but they've got the aged one. So they've got the 17-year-old, which was $500, the 30-year-old, which was $4,000, and the 21-year-old Hibiki was $650. I was looking at all this stuff. I was like, God, that's so much money. You don't see that very often. You don't see that kind of collection very often. So I thought he was going to start talking to me about whiskey. That would have made sense. But no.
Yeah.
He said, are you right, sir? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just looking. And rather than engage me then, he just literally stared at me as if I was unwelcome. And I was a bit disappointed.
Really? Oh, that is disappointing.
Yeah. And I tried to then engage him with my own whiskey towels, saying, oh, yeah, I haven't seen the aged bottles of Hibiki before.
Yeah.
I've got a bottle at home of the standard blend.
Mm.
And he was just like, oh, cool. Or I didn't even say, of course he didn't say cool. He was like, oh, yes. And
that's disappointing.
And then I mentioned the Cotswolds thing, and he said, oh, yes, it's made especially for us. And I was like, oh, have you heard of Bimber? No. He just didn't know. Like, clearly he was there to make sure I wasn't stealing stuff. And the thing is, the stuff that was out that I could have put in my bag, not that I would, was all between like 40 and 60 pounds, right? So still expensive, but I'm miles away from the door. And I'm going to get like one bottle in my bag, tops. The Manuka honey was right by the exit, Nick, and that was 60 quid a jar. I could have got loads in my bag. Could have got loads. And when I was looking at that, no one came up and stood there and went, you okay, sir? And I picked that one up. I didn't pick any of the whiskey up. I picked the honey up because I was like, oh, I do like my honey. But no one came over.
You're a honey junkie.
Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I'm sorry to hear that.
I had a great day out, but there was a whiskey element to it as well, which I enjoyed. So
yeah. Well, next time you go into Fortnum and Mason, just don't wear your striped pajamas with a bag marked swag on it. And you might be all right.
May have been the little mask I had around my face
on
as well. I did have my mask on.
Oh,
I did.
Mate, see, that's probably it. Going in there looking like the Hamburglar.
Yeah, and next time I'll go in there dressed as Ronald, and I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure they'll welcome me with open arms.
Amateurs.
Hey Nick.
What's up, man? What's up?
We got some lovely feedback on Booze Round last week.
Booze.
People really liked it.
You've got to sound the Z. You're sounding like booze. It's booze.
Bougely. People loved Booze Round last week, Nicholas.
Yeah. Did they like the sting?
Round.
You hadn't heard the sting until it came out, had you?
Mate, I loved it. How did you make that? Did you do it?
I did it, mate. Yeah. Got my keyboard out and everything. That's not, I didn't bring that in. So
I've got the first item in this week's Booze Round, by the way.
No, this isn't what we're talking about this week. We're talking about Whisky Show, right? Or are we not?
Well, no, but before we get onto that, there's a different item of news before we have to get onto that.
Okay.
This week, in the wider world of whiskey, Whiskey and Things have Glencairn glasses, which you can buy from our website.
Wow.
Didn't see that one coming, did you, Nick?
I didn't see that coming.
You thought,
some great deals going on there as well, by the way.
There really are. There really are. Go and check it out.
But yes, in this section, we were going to talk about the Whisky Show, right?
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people at a Whisky Show, yeah? So I'm calling this section Schmooze Round. Don't you just hate schmoozing?
Amazing. Oh, mate, that's amazing.
I have my moment.
So
there you go.
The normal Whisky Show is, I don't know if anyone's ever been to any kind of trade show, because I've been to these kind of things for music before. The It used to be a big one at the NEC.
Yeah.
And, trade fairs, kind of things where there's different stalls. Everyone's got their pitch there. They've got their brand ambassadors or their endorsees there showing off, trying to get you to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
And, of course, that kind of thing can't happen at the moment. So they've done it online for whiskey.
Yeah.
Which you may think, how does that work? But I've only been there today, Nick. You've been there since Friday.
I've had a wonderful few days.
I've had a great day.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be bored. I really did, but it's been really nice.
No, it's been fantastic.
I think. Sorry, I'll let you talk in a moment. But while I'm on a roll, my initial thoughts on this is that a lot of these people clearly go to these shows all the time, and they all know each other. And it's the first time I've gone, oh, this whole thing's a community. There's a whole whiskey community which we haven't yet been partial to.
Yeah.
We're hoping to infiltrate, I'm sure. But we haven't yet seen this. And it's great seeing everyone engage with each other in the comments or people just jumping into each other's pitches and streams and all kinds of stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just great. Everyone's stopping there halfway through going, oh, aren't you all right, Julian?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Right, Kate?
Yeah. For me,
It's great.
It's getting to know the names and faces of people in the whiskey industry. And it's a great introduction for us to the whiskey community, because listeners, we're on episode 29. We are new to this. We're not in the industry. We've come from the outside.
Yeah.
We're just two musicians who love whiskey, and we want to learn more, and we invite you to come on our whiskey journey with us. But this was an amazing way to, learn who's who and who does what.
In a less intimidating way, I feel, than actually being there.
Yeah.
You can sit back. Like when you're there in those kind of places, someone will come and talk to you before you're necessarily ready to or feel comfortable enough to talk to someone.
Yeah.
And with this, you can just sit back, watch the room, figure out who people are.
Yeah.
If you want to join in the chat, you can. You don't have to at all. You could literally sit there and just be anonymous.
Yeah. You just type your question in the feed, and they answer every single question, and they give you so much time. And I don't think you get that. Yeah. And you might have the embarrassment to put your hand up, and maybe people might think it's a stupid. People have issues like that, and I do. Sometimes standing up and asking questions. But here it's just so easy because you can kind of take time to think of that question and maybe do a bit of research. I've been sitting there kind of researching stuff which is in there in the talks. A bit
that's
more
the other thing you can
deeper,
do exactly.
Delving a bit deeper.
Yeah.
I've been absolutely loving it, to be honest. I mean, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't think I was online for like 9 hours watching everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's you can't actually watch everything, can you? Because there's 3 or 4 things going on at once.
No.
But there's enough there, and even if you look at all 3 things, you're like, well, I don't know any of these things. Just click on one and try it. I did that a few times today.
Yeah,
and I just sat there and just enjoyed it. Just enjoyed what was going on. It was. Again, one of them said something today. It may have been the MACKMYRA guys. I can't remember. They said we're selling passion. No, it was the boutique guys. He said we're selling passion. Like this is we take this seriously. This is a big passion of ours.
Yeah.
And whenever you hear, you and I have spoke about this before. When you hear people talking about stuff they really are interested in and passionate about, it's interesting. You'll get caught up in it. And there's been times they've been talking about whiskies I've never heard of, but just hearing people talk about them so passionately, number one, makes me want to try them. And number two is opening my eyes to different things I'd not heard of before and being entertained in the process.
Yeah, totally.
So this is still going on. This podcast goes out on Wednesday, and there's still a few days left, right?
It goes on to Friday. So we're talking 8 days of this thing. The people putting this on, they're going to be absolutely knackered. What's interesting about it as well, like you can buy tasting sets from the Whiskey Exchange, so you can taste along with a lot of these sessions. And we've done a couple for later in the week, which we'll get onto in a second. But you can kind of drop into different sessions, and you might not have the whiskey, but suddenly they'll be like, okay, this is the Ardbeg 10. And I'm like, you know what, I've got that. It was 11:30 in the morning. I'm going to just, I might pour myself a little dram, see what the distillery manager who they've got on there, see what he has to say to it. If I have any questions, drop him a little question. It's an absolutely great opportunity to do that kind of thing. But just try and eat throughout the day, because I was finding myself not having time to even eat lunch. I think Saturday night I got a bit hammered. But another one like this is another one in our range of. This is Lagavulin. I've got that. Yeah, I might put a bit of that in. Oh, the MACKMYRA guys are on. This would be a great time to try that Intelligens bottle. And then you get in the chat, you're like, I'm drinking Intelligens. And they're like, oh, great one, Nick. Love that. We haven't got that here today, but amazing. And it's just a really great backwards and forwards, which you wouldn't normally get at a normal exhibition show. To be honest, I think that I'm all up for having the regular show come back next year. So I really want to go and get involved. But I think this is a great thing to have, like...
They should keep this.
As well. Like, have them 6 months apart.
Yeah, because it's all right for me, because I live in London, but a lot of people, this is connecting people from all over the place. There'll be people that are remote who can't get there, who just want to do something for a little bit, and all that kind of stuff comes into it. So I would like them to do something like this. I just think it's a great idea. I think it really works, and there's the technology is there now for them to do it. And also the other thing about those big trade events is they can get so loud.
Yeah.
Like, especially the music ones. God, you get a headache by the end. But with this, it's quite chilled out. I'm sitting in my own house. I'm in my comfy chair. Yeah,
it kind of benefits as well. Because we're watching the boutique whiskey thing earlier. Sam Simmons and Dave Worthington, I think, they were talking about how if it was actually in a venue, there isn't actually enough room to have all the people they've had on this virtual version of the show as well,
Yeah. Yeah, and they had a great guest on earlier, didn't they, Nick?
They did, Dave Broom.
They had Dave Broom, who's a wonderful whiskey journalist, or all-round drinks journalist.
I've listened to him a lot.
But he's been able to hop on to different things throughout the thing. And there's no way at a normal whiskey show he would be able to be at that many people's stands, because he wouldn't be able to get from one place to the next quick enough. But he can literally finish one, then go to another one, and go to another one. But he was really interesting. Like, he's got a film out that what was the film called? I've got the tab up. I'm sure I've got the tab up that I want to watch. The Amber Light that I really want to watch. It's on Vimeo. If you put Amber Light in, it's a film about whiskey, but not how to make whiskey. It's about whiskey and culture in Scotland, and it looks amazing. So hearing about things like that are going on was wonderful. He has a book which I didn't know about, which I've ordered this week, about the whiskey manual.
Yeah.
And it was about how you and he upset people when he released it, because he suggests ways of drinking whiskey which aren't traditional. So he was talking about, Lagavulin actually tastes really good with Coke. Now no one would. When he said that, and there was a few people in the comments like, "What?" Like, just that's crazy.
Yeah.
But in fairness, those people weren't saying what, as in how dare you. They were saying, how have I never thought to do that? And because you think of Lagavulin as something you don't add Coke to. You wouldn't necessarily have tried it, but why not? And I'm looking forward to this book, so that when we get whiskies, that we can go, this one, maybe we should try it with soda water, because someone who's been doing this for years has suggested that that's a good idea. This one we should try in an old fashioned. This one,
a Lafroig and Dr. Pepper.
Why not? Why not? Why not? And the whole thing took away. He was great because he took away the snobbery out of whiskey in all this. He was saying, look, whiskey's a drink to be enjoyed, and it can be enjoyed in hundreds of different ways. You don't have to be a snob about it. And I was like, that's great. And I just enjoyed it. And I'd never heard of this guy before. You said you have. I hadn't. So I was like, this guy's great.
It's cool as well with the whole community. There's other people talking about the fact that no one judges for... It was quite funny. Me and Dave were both on the chat at the same time. And they were like, I came to Scotland and no one cared that, you say Balvenie or Balvenie or, It's Balvenie, apparently.
You text me. You text me being like, hilarious. So I was
that's
like,
a callback to last week, everyone, where we're having a discussion of the ways to pronounce.
Discussion.
Exact, yeah. I said Glenfiddich as well last week when it's meant to be Glenfiddich. I listened back and I was, kind of disappointed with myself.
I didn't know that.
But it doesn't matter, Dave. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't actually care.
But yes, as we said earlier on, we're going to be getting involved with the tasting later in the week. This goes out on the Wednesday, Whisky Wednesday, everyone. Hashtag.
Whisky Wednesday.
It's a free hashtag, everyone. And we've kind of applied, we've got some whiskies turning up to taste along. Mm-hmm. For tonight, if you're listening on Wednesday, we're going to be tasting along with the What's in the Wood session.
I'm so happy about this. I'm so glad you chose that one.
If you're a long-term listener to this show, you'll realise that the What's in the Wood tasting selection is right up our street. Answering a lot of questions there. Anyway, that starts at 6:45 p.m. London time tonight. And we're doing on Friday, we're going to be following the Discovering English Whiskies session. That's at 7 p.m. Both are with Billy Abbott, one of the Whiskey Exchange tasters. So that should be good.
We're going to do our tasting as a live broadcast on Instagram.
Yes. Instagram
So
Live or hell, whatever it's called.
We've never done an Instagram Live, but that's what we're going to do. So you might not necessarily be in the whiskey chat and know what's going on with Billy, but you'll see our reaction and we'll talk people through it as well, what's going on and that kind of thing. Yeah,
we won't have the picture and the audio from the Whiskey Show. It'll just be me and Dave kind of following along with what they're saying and commenting and tasting by ourselves. So
yeah.
Yes.
So come and join us on Instagram, or if you see us go live any point this week, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, or it'll be me just testing it and just knocking it and doing it wrong, and then I'll go off again. But yeah, that's going to be pretty cool, I think. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to have them all lined up in my Glencairns and,
got to have 5 Glencairns lined up, haven't we?
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. Well, you've got enough
Fortunately, Nick, I've got loads. So if anyone would like to buy one and then help me have some space in my living room, that would be great as well.
The ones Dave actually uses will cost more money, though.
Excellent. Excellent.
So, if you want to jump on as well, the Whiskey Show does go on till Friday, as we said earlier, and you can get tickets for 20 quid to get access. It's quite fun. I thought it's quite reasonable.
Yeah,
for a week.
even for 2 days, 20 quid's going to be worth it in my opinion. I can't believe we're getting all of this for 20 quid.
Yeah.
It's really great. And bear in mind, I won a t-shirt and you won a bottle of whiskey.
I know. Yeah, got the new MACKMYRA coming along.
Paid for itself, isn't it?
Yeah, man. So yeah, and of course we'll be talking a bit more, rounding up this whole experience in next week's show as well. So
I'm sure we will.
Big episode 30, mate.
Oh yeah.
You're listening to the Whiskey and Things podcast.
So Nicholas, I think that's pretty much all we got time for today.
Pretty much, yeah. We better still mention that we do have Glencairns for sale.
Oh yeah, we do have Glencairns for sale. Don't
on the
forget
website. That's www.whiskyandthings.com.
Or join on Patreon, patreon.com/whiskey and things.
Correct. So yeah, that's the end of episode 29.
29?
Cool. What are we doing next week, Nick? For our big episode 30.
Big episode 30. I hadn't fully decided. I thought we could kind of discuss a little bit together. I was thinking, right, because it's episode 30, and there's kind of 3 whiskies which are kind of like the Holy Isla Trinity, okay? You got your Laphroaig, your Lagavulin, yeah, and there's the other one we haven't tried yet. And
Ardbeg.
Yeah, Ardbeg, because like on all the chat forums and stuff, you see, whatever the question is, the answer seems to be Ardbeg for some reason.
Really?
So I think we should, just on episode 30, round it off with the Ardbeg 10-year-old. What do you reckon, Dave?
I think that's a great shout.
Yeah.
I think that's a great shout.
It's a classic. I think people do love it, and I think we should do it. We should do it this week.
About time. It's about time we did it. Okay, so I think you've given me a small sample of that, haven't you?
You have got that, yeah.
Excellent.
And
fantastic.
And my bottle is getting quite low, so I do want to drink. I do want to review it before I finish it off.
So I'm expecting a bit of peaty goodness next week.
Mate, yeah. All the peat. Yeah. It's a lovely whiskey, mate. You're going to love it. It's the, So that's the third in the Triple Crown of Isla whiskies. There's loads more, Isla ones, but they're all kind of, they're a mile away from each other, all on the same road. And there's a good bit of history there. One day.
We'll go along and start our own water war.
But the water doesn't matter, Dave, does it? The water doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. So disappointing. Anyway, Thank you very much to everyone who has listened. We hope you've enjoyed yourself. Thanks for letting us plug our whiskey glasses, and hopefully you haven't got annoyed of us doing that, but go and buy one. And hopefully see you at one of our live tasting things we're doing on Instagram this week.
Yes, tonight or Friday. So keep an eye out. Sweet.
Keep an eye out.
Lovely jubbly. So,
in the words of our Swedish friends,
Skål. Thanks for coming.
Whiskey and Things has been brought to you by And Things Productions.